You know, I was starting to feel bad for Kinji when I saw how he was basically being treated like absolute dog shit. And then I remember how he did the exact same thing, even including brainwashing in the very first episode. And he was about to run his workers into an early grave. And like I said last week, whether Kinji succeeds in ruling this company, or just the general leadership continues the status quo, it is the workers who suffer and the workers who will always get the short end of the stick. And whenever Kinji does fall on his face, it's an entertaining ride, and when he pulls a surprising curveball where he actually made it so he was a little confused and disoriented from a little plant in the wilderness in order to infiltrate the company without being brainwashed. That's also a very entertaining situation. I really had no idea what the overall objective of this episode was. I mean, after last week, we basically have a monster nation going. We want to overthrow the government. We want to overthrow the company. How are we going to do that? And seemingly they got promoted, but that promotion came with, I would say, an even worse situation. You're getting a pig who's calling you swine, who is eating his fill of meat as he's saying you need to either lose weight or build stamina as he's being carried off into the distance. Like, this guy is without a doubt scum, and it was great to see such a despicable character be that despicable as you have characters like Kinji kind of, even though I knew it wasn't going to last forever, it was nice to see a character like him have to suffer before pulling off the ultimate scumlord move, which just made me kind of say, that's honestly impressive. When you get introduced to Shia, I believe it was like right at the beginning of the episode, she's saying, you know, absolutely, I live for the company, a few hundred people get killed, absolutely, that's A-okay, it's all for the company. And to see her by the end of the episode where, I mean, Kinji's not wrong, you mine all of this material, to which then they make into weapons that you have to use your money that you earned for working for the company in order to protect yourself as you work for the company. You basically give the company all the money they pay you just so you can continue to survive. And certain characters, like Shia, are without a doubt completely brainwashed and numb to what's happening, but maybe given her status and ranking, it's pretty easy to be brainwashed and say everything's A-okay when you are revered as basically a goddess, because, I mean, just look at the introductions to anyone who meets her, right? I found it to be very interesting because I wasn't sure exactly what they were going to do. The idea of tying her up and blackmailing her by taking a photo of her hanging out with monsters was probably least on my list. I thought either A, he was going to summon a bunch of ants to either kill her or attack her, because I didn't really look up the supporting characters to the show, so I had no idea if she would be relevant past an episode or two. Given the character design and personality, it felt too good to be a one-and-done character, so I was leaning on her not getting killed. But her being kidnapped by ants, that was honestly pretty high up there for me. But I love the idea that Wannabe is the type of character who definitely agrees, I would say more times than not, with Kinji. He wants to go with his plan, wants to overthrow the current company's status quo. But the fact that when he realizes that the things that he brings to Kinji are the responsibilities of himself in terms of why these horrible actions are happening, you can definitely tell he's questioning if he's maybe made the wrong decisions, like when you see someone crying for her life as she's basically being blackmailed that if you don't do what we say, we'll release these to the public and your name and image will be tarnished. I think it's so interesting because this was an episode that I didn't expect a plot twist. Like, him breaking out of brainwashing absolutely was going to happen. I just didn't expect that he had this, like, really interesting plan, because when they went to explain, like, the plant, right, I had no real expectation that they were going to use that as an actual way to be kind of confused and delirious so that you could eventually break out of it on the boat. And the fact that they did the exact same thing to the mages, which then caused this basically entire island to go up in flames. This show is brutal. Like, it is an absolute riot. It's always funny. It's always entertaining. But to see just how much of absurdity and just toxicity is occurring in this workplace, it's pretty heartbreaking, I have to say. Though I will say the overall idea of the pay for where they're currently at, I definitely think is better. It's pretty much based on what type of things you do and how good you do it. There's a lot better for a fixed schedule, so you can understand how someone who's basically a hero is pretty A-okay with the situation and okay with some of the smaller grunt workers ending up dying on the job because she gets to live a pretty luxurious lifestyle. I think the Dungeon of Black Company and what they've built so far, where you have a queen, you have all these miniature ants, a dragon, you have so many different things at play. Now a hero having to work on your side Would she eventually break away and take one for the team? I could see something like that. Would it work? Probably not. But still, it's like one of those things that you think about and you say, how can they make it even more absurd? And for 3 weeks, they've done exactly that. Now, if I was a betting man, I would say how many more people could join his alliance and his group before it feels like it's fulfilled? Probably, I would say we're at the status quo right now, and I mean, the very end of the episode, we get what seems to be another dragon looking in. At least that's what I thought it was. So I wouldn't be shocked if either that could join, or we have to kill it with all the new powers and basically all the allies we have. But still, it's something that gives you a lot of hope for the future of this show. I mean, I was really content with just the episode 1 brainwashing plotline. I was content with the Ant plotline last week. And now that we're in a completely new set of territories and character interactions, what are they going to do so he can live his luxurious lifestyle of doing nothing and being the ultimate NEET? And truthfully, I don't know what they're going to do next week, because we get a taste of what Rim can do in this episode when she is getting serious. I mean, she got clonked on the head by a sword, turned into basically a sexy version of herself, and punched her into a wall. But where do you go from here? Like, I mean, you would think on paper, right? They have the power, they have the numbers. All the worker ants you send into the village, you make people go crazy. The queen, the dragon, maybe even a hero comes to your aid. There's enough that you would think that they could take over a town, but maybe their forces aren't good enough, because he's the type of character who wants to seemingly live in this world and do nothing. So if he just overtakes a village, everyone's going to know he's a scumbag. So if he's going to go that direction, he probably has to be guaranteed that no one will be able to retaliate against his leadership. So maybe it's just going to be a simple thing where he uses all the monsters to get all the minerals once again, and he's going to sell them and just live in luxury like he's mentioned in the episode earlier. But maybe that's not going to happen exactly like that. It's hard to say, right? Because really, we are so many light novels into most isekai stories, and every episode feels like a miniature novel in the best possible way. We're not wasting time, but we're not going too fast either. There definitely is breathing room, but it's not to the point where you'll feel like these arcs need multiple episodes. No, just keep on throwing new ideas at us, and it's probably going to be a hilariously entertaining ride. And I mean, I love Kinji. He's a despicable bastard, but when I see him suffer, it's hilarious, and when I see him somehow scheme his way to victory, I'm like, God damn, you definitely want to be on his side at this point in time, but he's still a horrible bastard. That's what you love about it. I definitely think Wanabe is the most relatable character. You feel so bad for the guy, at least I know I do. I will say it's kind of impressive that we have explored as much as we have in 3 episodes, because generally shows like these, they keep the world pretty low-key. They don't explore outside of the main central setting and things like that. So the fact that we've already been on boat rides, gone to different islands, seen different parts of the world, I definitely think this will probably feel like one of the more fleshed out comedy isekai worlds in recent memory, at least for a one-core, one-season show, which is a pretty good compliment in a genre that's as saturated as this. It's already a great series for numerous reasons, but a good fleshed out world and world mechanics is an added bonus you don't want to shy away or shrug away too easy. Let me know your thoughts and feelings down below. Where do you think it's going to go, and where do you hope it's going to go with next week's episode? Drop a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you're new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.